Ahoy mates! Welcome on board Royal Caribbean's Symphony of the Seas, an Oasis-class vessel. We are here for an 8-night sailing, the very first sailing from Symphony's new home port of Cape Liberty, New Jersey. So if you're interested in seeing more content of that, all of our daily videos, and our room tour, be sure to check out our full Symphony of the Seas playlist. But for today's video, I'm going to take you around and give you a full and complete tour of all the public areas on this vessel. We're going to start down at the bottom and work our way up deck by deck. So let's go ahead and get it started. Our tour of Royal Caribbean Symphony of the Seas begins right now. Alright, starting at the bottom here, which on this ship is deck number 2. As we look at our directory, there is no public deck number 1, so we're going to begin here on deck number 2. And as always, I'll point out there are 2 elevator and stairwell sections on this ship: the forward elevators and stairs and the midship elevators and stairs, which are sometimes referred to aft or rear. So that's when I say midship or I say forward, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so now we are here at the midship elevators and stairs because there's nothing really at the forward part. The only thing here on deck 2 that's not a boarding area is the medical facility. So right here off of the midship elevators, you'll just turn and head like you're going to go forward. We're here on the port side, by the way, and this is the entrance to the medical facility. You see the green cross there, hours of operation. So if you need the medical facility, this is where you'll come. And like I said, that's it for deck number 2, so we're done here. We're gonna go to 3. Deck number 3, and on most ships, deck number 3 is where you'll start seeing a ton of public areas, but not so on this ship. Just 2 things we wanna show here. So right off the midship elevators and stairs, we'll find the entrance to the main dining room. The main dining room is gonna encompass several different floors, and it starts here on deck 3. And they'll have the hours posted there, the menu for the day posted on the digital board here outside, and they currently have this section closed off, but it looks like this section is open. So let's just take a quick look inside. This is the entrance area here, and you'll check in and tell them how many in your party and all the things like that. Now, depending on which dining time you have, you might be assigned to either deck 3, deck 4, or deck 5. It really just depends. And here's a look inside the main dining room. Beautiful art there on the back, chandelier hanging in the middle, and you can see we're open air. Decks 4 and decks 5 up above, still part of the main dining room. You're gonna have porthole windows all along the side, and then all of your tables here in the center area. So we'll see the entrances on deck 4 and deck 5, but we're probably not gonna go in because it's pretty much the same thing up there. Just know the dining room is going to encompass all 3 decks. Now that is it for this section of deck 3. The other item we need to see, the conference center, is actually accessed from the forward elevators and stairs. So we're gonna walk down the hall now and check that out. So now we're at the forward elevators and stairs here on deck number 3, and we'll turn around and we'll find the entrance to the conference center. So you see here they have the names of the different rooms with the Radiance, Brilliance, Jewel, and Serenade, named after the Radiance class of ships in Royal Caribbean's fleet. Now the conference center is closed off currently, but just know that this is where you can come if you have a group on board or you need some kind of meeting space and event space. You can do that here at the conference center. Main dining room and conference center covered, as is deck 3, so we can head up to deck 4. Deck number 4 now, and this is where we start to get into a lot of stuff. There's a lot of fun public areas on this deck. So we are currently at the forward elevators and stairs, and we will turn towards the very forward part of the ship and we'll find the main entrance to the Royal Theater. Now you can also access it from the deck above, but this is the main entrance where you will go in. It is closed right now, but we were able to get in the other night to see Hairspray, the main production show on board, which was absolutely phenomenal. Highly recommend it. And as you can see here, it is a beautiful theater, multi-level, all the standard features that you would expect to see. Now that's the only thing forward of the forward elevators here on deck 4. So now we're going to start heading aft. And as we get into certain areas like this next little bit, it'll kind of be like a roundabout. So we're going to kind of have to bounce back and forth a little, but we will cover everything. So let's turn and head aft. And right across from the melted blow pop statue, we'll turn over here to the starboard side and we'll find this, which I find very interesting. This is a smaller section of Casino Royale that is designated no smoking. So when we see the main casino area later on, the larger one, you'll know that that is a smoking section. But this one, no smoking in here. It is, of course, a lot smaller. Looks like they do have roulette, blackjack, some other table game, and then a couple of slot machines scattered throughout. They do have an ATM and a ticket redemption machine in here as well. As we proceed aft here, we'll find 2 venues opposite each other. The Diamond Lounge over here on the left. We'll get to that in a second. And over here on the right, where all the artwork is the entrance to the attic. Now, it's not very well advertised, but we can see it on this little sign here. Now, unfortunately, they have the big doors closed which means I can't go in there. We don't open the big doors. We'll open small doors if they're unlocked, but not the big doors. The attic, though, here we go. Here's the sign kind of here in the middle. This is basically the comedy club space on board. Now, they will do different other things, different activities, maybe trivia or something like that, but mainly designated as the comedy club space. And now we'll jump over to the Crown Lounge. This is for the upper levels of the Crown and Anchor Society loyalty program. This is a lounge for them to come in and enjoy. Let's take a look. So right when we enter, we see we have some seating. They also have some computers and printers if you need to print anything or check on the internet. And then they're also going to have a small help desk here, kind of like a concierge included, with their hours of operation posted there. And they can also get you some information. They have cruise compasses and other things like that printed out there for you to grab. And in the back corner, they're also going to have a small food and beverage station. So they'll have different snacks throughout the day. Looks like they're changing over right now. And then they're also going to have a drink station available as well with ice water. They're going to have usually drinks down here in the fridge, like little sodas and stuff. Specialty coffee machine here, and a tea and coffee area with all the fixings that you would need. Now, just past the Crown Lounge and the attic, we'll find the entrance to Studio B, which is closed right now, but we were able to see inside of it during showtime the other night. So this is where they'll host the ice skating shows, 2 on this ship, 1977 and Ice Skate 2.0, as well as have other activities like free session ice skating and laser tag as well, all included with your cruise fare. Now at this point, you need to make a decision. You can either cut over to the starboard side over there, or you can cut over to the port side over here. Either way, you're going to end up in the same area. We're going to come over on this side, though. We're approaching Casino Royale. Either way, though, either tunnel will take you there. This side, though, does have the Park West Art Gallery, so you'll be able to see different pieces of art that are for sale. And they have these examples just hung up on the wall here for you to admire, or either consider purchasing, bidding on if they're having an auction, things like that. So that's going to continue down. And the other side, the other hallway we didn't go down, it just has kind of permanent art installations for the ship, not anything that you would purchase or buy or bid on. And then they have the Park West desk right here. Should you need to speak to someone about purchasing some of that art, this is where they will be located. And as I mentioned, either tunnel you take will dump you off in the same spot, which is Casino Royale. Now, this is the main section, the smoking section of the casino, and it is absolutely massive because it spans the entire width of the ship, starboard to port side. So you're going to have more slot machines than you can count all along the perimeters. And then in the center is where you'll find all your table games like blackjack, craps, roulette, all located here. Help desk over there with the casino host is. They have poker and baccarat and things like that. The table games in the back over there. Now in the middle here, they will have these TVs that are usually playing live sports or whatever's on the Caribbean networks at that time, as well as a bar. So you can get your drinks here as well. Now if you look over here, like I said, it just continues, and you're just going to get more of the same, more table games, more slot machines. It is huge in here, ginormous casino. Of course, they have their ATMs and things like that. Anything you need, you can find it in here. And of course, the casino is not open while you're in port typically, so they post their hours of operation on the digital boards as you enter. Back at our map here to get reoriented, we saw the entrance to the Royal Theater, the non-smoking section of Casino Royale, the entrance to the Crown Lounge, the entrance to the attic, and Studio B. Now, once again, you can go on either side. You can go starboard or port, end up in Casino Royale, and then once you pass through that, you're at the midship elevators and stairs. 2 things to see here in the aft section. You'll find the entrance to the main dining room on deck 4. Again, we already saw inside of there, but this is the entrance if you're assigned to deck 4. And then next to that, over here on the port side of the ship, we will find the entrance to a specialty restaurant. Now, when I always say specialty restaurant, that means that it comes at an additional cost. It is not included with your cruise fare. And technically, it's a 2-for-1 here with azumi, hibachi, and sushi. So you can dine either way. The hibachi with the chef at the table, preparing everything for you tableside, doing all the normal tricks and jokes and things like that. Or you can just go for the sushi, where they have, obviously sushi, but they have other good eats as well. Usually stuff like ramen or teriyaki, udon, things like that. And they will have the menu posted here outside on the digital board as well. And then you can go right in towards the samurai suit of armor here and into the restaurant. So you see we have the 2 hibachi tables there on that side for the hibachi dining experience. And then we're gonna have tables over here next to the sushi bar for the sushi dining experience. And with that covered, we have finished deck 4, moving on to deck 5. Okay, deck number 5, and there is a ton of stuff to see here. Let's go ahead and check something off. Right behind the midship elevators and stairs towards the aft section, we'll find the entrance to the main dining room on deck 5. Again, same spot that we already saw earlier. Now, off of the midship elevators and stairs, you can turn and either go port or starboard. Either way will give you access to this outside promenade deck. So we can come right out here, tap the arrows to open it up, and you can see that this is actually open air, and it features as the walking and running or jogging lane. So all the signs here keeping you motivated. Again, open air, so you can see right out to sea or whatever port you're at for today. And then they also have the information here with it drawn out. So this goes all the way around the deck, and it shows the different areas that you can enter back inside the ship and even into the fitness center at the front, which we'll get to later. They also designate how far you have to run, how many laps you have to run if you want to run these designated increments of distance. All right, we find ourselves between the midship elevator bays. We turn forward and we find the entrance to the Royal Promenade. Now this is going to be a giant kind of circle here, and it's actually going to continue up on deck 6, which of course we'll get to later. So I'm just going to kind of take it around here. We're going to start maybe over here on the port side and circle all the way around, and we'll end back on the starboard side before we proceed forward. But right when we enter the Royal Promenade here in the center, just in front of the grand staircase there, they do have the shore excursions desk area where you can just tap your SeaPass card on one of these tablets, and they'll bring up the available shore excursions for all of the different ports. Now we do recommend purchasing those in advance of your cruise, but if for some reason you weren't able to, or you're trying to do something last minute, this is where you'll want to come. Now, beginning our circle over here on the port side, we will find the VOOM, fastest internet at sea desk. So if you need to purchase a Wi-Fi package or having issues with it, you can speak to the assistant here. Again, probably would recommend purchasing that in advance of your cruise, but all the same, if you need to talk to someone, this is where you'll come. Now beyond that, they will have some different jewelry pieces on display here that you can purchase, because this is the first of many shops that we will see, the Regalia Watches store. Now all of the stores are going to be closed right now because we are in port, but you can see inside, and it usually tells you in the name or in the description what they're selling. Lots of jewelry, lots of watches in there. Next to Regalia Watches, we will find the entrance to guest services. So if you need to speak to someone about any issues you're having, any questions you might have regarding your cruise, this is where you'll want to come. Guest services desk here in the Royal Promenade. Now just across from that is something really interesting venue, and this is a staple of Oasis class ships. This is the Rising Tide Bar, and it's so named because it is here currently docked on deck 5, but it will actually rise all the way up, slowly but surely, to deck number 8 in Central Park up there. So again, that's the name, hence the name, Rising Tide. It's going to go up, and it's also going to come down, and they usually have water features underneath when it is risen up. So that only operates certain hours of the day, usually in the evening, but it is a fully functioning bar. They do have a bar space here. They will serve you drinks while you ride and enjoy the views. Next up on our list, we will find Cafe Promenade. This is included with your cruise fare and is open 24 hours a day. So they will have standard coffee in here, as well as pastries and things you can grab. But they also have a specialty coffee line serving Starbucks items, which that's what that line is for. Now, if you have a refreshment or deluxe beverage package, you can get Starbucks drinks at any station that is not a standalone Starbucks location, like this. This is not a Starbucks, they're just serving Starbucks items, so those would be included with the beverage package. Again, open 24 hours a day. Most things here are included except the specialty coffee and drinks. Now next up we will find the shop, and as you can see by the crown and anchor there in the logo, this shop is going to be selling Royal Caribbean items featuring the crown and anchor logo or things specific to the ship that you're sailing on. So Symphony of the Seas merchandise in there, t-shirts, hats, toys, mugs, magnets, all kinds of fun stuff. And next up past the shop we will find Copper and Kettle. This is going to be the pub on board and gonna feature the typical pub stuff. Bar all along the back side, dark woods in here, low lighting, and a small stage for nightly performances. And they also have tables and seating out on the promenade itself as well. Now next to that we will find Royal Caribbean Port Merchants. This is another store that's going to be serving or selling alcohol and tobacco and snacks and things of that nature. And I'll go ahead and point out that here in the middle they will have these little stands which will sell merchandise from different times, usually in the evening. Sometimes they'll have specials or different sales towards the end of the cruise, so you'll just want to come and see what they have, check the signs, or speak to the staff here that are selling those items. Next shop we will find is the Solera Beauty Shop. You can see it's actually pretty large. There's an entrance there and an entrance here as well. This is selling cosmetics, fragrances, all that good stuff. And our last venue on the port side of the Royal Promenade lower deck is On Air, and you can tell by the sports ticker kind of going across there that this is supposed to be essentially a sports bar. I think that was the original intention. It now gets used as a multi-use space, so they'll kind of do some other items in here, maybe karaoke, maybe trivia, different activities. Right now, they're just kind of showing the standard Royal Caribbean channels instead of sports, but you do see they have all these TVs, so when there are live sports going on, they may have those available. Lots of seating in the back and the bar over on the side. But when we get to the boardwalk area later on, we'll see a venue that has definitely taken over as the main spot to watch sports on board Symphony of the Seas. But On Air Club, still hosting a lot of fun events. All right, and so we've each reached the end of the Royal Promenade here. I want to point out there are ATMs at the end of the promenade that you can access. And now we find ourselves at the forward elevators and stairs with the really cool bubble artwork up there hanging throughout the elevator bay. Now, the only thing forward here is the upper deck entrance to the Royal Theater, which of course we already saw inside of. So you're gonna have the elevators and then the Royal Theater. So we're actually ready to spin back around and go down the starboard side of the Royal Promenade. But a couple things to point out here in the middle. And the first thing is Starbucks. Now, this is a standalone Starbucks location, so it's not going to be included with your drink packages. You're going to have to pay for this separately, but they do have all your favorite Starbucks drinks there for you, as well as the merchandise that they typically sell, like those mugs. What are they called? Like the Where You Been mugs or something like that. They have those for sale. And they also have this really cool art piece here. Nice metallic statue under the skylights letting the sunshine in as the Michael Franti croons us with his song about the sunshine down. Now across from Starbucks, we will find Boleros. This is the Latin lounge on board, and you can see they have the stage and huge dance floor here in the middle with the comfortable seating all throughout the rest of the venue, and the wraparound bar tucked up in the back. So they will have usually nightly live performances of Latin music. It gets nice and hopping in here. It's a good time. And next up past Boleros, we will find Regalia again, but this time it's jewelry instead of watches. So we're gonna focus more on things like necklaces and rings and bracelets and all that good stuff. Now just past that, under the selfie guy and the hula hoop girl, is the gangway. So you can actually get on and off the ship here on deck 5 for Symphony of the Seas, depending on the port. But we are in port at Port Canaveral today, and people are getting on and off the ship right here, not having to go down into the depths, which is pretty cool. Just past the gangway, we will find a Royal Caribbean staple and favorite, which is Sorrento's. This is Royal Caribbean's pizza spot on most of their ships. Not some of the older ones, but most of their ships. And this is included with your cruise fare, and it is open late, usually until 3 a.m. or maybe 2 a.m. on the last night. But it is open late, and again, included with your cruise fare, so you'll just come in line here, and they'll serve you the pizza up there. They typically have pepperoni, cheese, and vegetarian every day, and then they'll have a rotating item. Like today, it's the Caribbean Dream, which is actually one of my favorites, and they'll post it up on the menu board there as well. Condiments over to the side, and they have a drink station here as well. And next to the condiment stand, they will have the Coke Freestyle machine. So if you purchase any kind of beverage package on a Royal Caribbean ship, even just the soda package, you will get a souvenir tumbler cup, and you can refill that here at these Coke Freestyle machines. They're located throughout the ship. I'll try to point them out as we go along, but note that there are 2 here in Sorrento, so those will be yours to use throughout your journey. And no Oasis class ship promenade would be complete without a car. They decided to mash this one up into a ball. Who knows why? Now just across from the mashed up car ball, we will find one of my favorite spots, Next Cruise. It's one of my favorites because I'm a travel agent, and if you didn't know that, we are completely free to use, no charges or fees whatsoever. Stay tuned at the end of the video and I'll give you more information about that. But for the Next Cruise desk, this is where you want to come to book your next cruise while you're still on board. You can book any cruise, not just Alaska, though that is a great option, and you can get up to $600 in savings. It's typically as an onboard credit, but they will sometimes do it as a cash discount. The amount you receive depends on the category of room you book, as well as the length of sailing that you book. And I need to point this out, a lot of people don't know this. It says pay only $100 per person deposit on select fares, but it is non-refundable. Keep that in mind, non-refundable deposits at the next cruise desk. So you have a couple of options here. You can come in and speak to someone at the next cruise desk if you want to pick and book a specific sailing. You know which cruise you want to go on, you know which room, or they're going to help you figure it out. You can come and book that. Now, if you don't know which one you want to book just yet, but you still want to take advantage of the savings, you want to come over and fill out one of these forms. This is the Book Now, Choose Later form, and it's going to break down the offers there that you will receive, which is the same as the standard next cruise booking. But what you do is you put down your deposit, the $100 per person, on the hold there, and then you'll have 2 months to assign that to a sailing when you get back home to receive the offers. Now, if you go past the 2 months, you won't get the offers, but you do still have up until a year before you forfeit the deposit that you place. So you just fill this out, drop it in the box, and they will charge the credit card on file. And even if you book with someone here at the next cruise desk, or you fill out the form, you can have this sent to us as your travel agents. Of course, it's completely free of charge, and then we'll be able to assist you the rest of the way. So highly recommend coming to the next cruise desk to book your next cruise. People always ask us, is it really a good deal? Yes, because they're going to give you whatever offer is going on land currently at that time, plus the additional savings or onboard credit and the reduced deposits, usually $100 per person. So you really can't beat it. Highly recommend. Now, next cruise, we will find a stairwell that will actually take us up to the upper deck of the promenade, but we will see that in just a minute. Continuing on past that, we will find the collection. This is another store on board that is going to sell different items. As you can see, mostly handbags. They also have some jewelry in the back there. A couple different things, sunglasses, things like that. And then our last thing to see here on this side is the Bionic Bar. Now, this is one of our favorites. Not everyone loves it. A lot of people like going to a regular bar and having a true bartender. But if you're in for something a little bit different, you can come to Bionic Bar here. They will have tablets out on the different tables. You tap your SeaPass card and you order whatever drink you want. You can get alcohol, you can get a mocktail, different things like that. And the 2 robotic arm bartenders will fill them up with whatever they need to make that drink. And then you will tap your card here when it's ready and it will slide it out to you. It's really fun. There's no additional cost for it, but you do have to pay for whatever drinks you're ordering. So keep that in mind. But it will display it up here. It'll tell you the robot's name, what drink's being made, how long it's going to take, all that fun stuff. And then one final note here, where we entered the Royal Promenade, opposite of the Voom desk, we'll find the port and shopping desk. So if you want to speak to someone about shopping in the different ports, this is where you'll come. The expert will be located here, and they have informational flyers put out as well. All right, so we have completed our loop of the lower deck of the Royal Promenade. And again, the only thing forward was the entrance to the Royal Theater, as well as the continuation of the running track with the entrance to the fitness center. So we have covered everything here on deck 5, and we can now continue to 6. And as I transition between decks here on the stairwell, I wanted to point out, you'll usually find art on the walls on each level of the stairs. What's interesting here on Symphony of the Seas on deck 5 going to 6 is that the art continues onto the floor. I don't think I've ever seen that on another ship. So really interesting. Every stairwell we've been in has that going from 5 to 6. All right, deck 6, and this is an interesting one because of the way it's divided up. There is a lot to see here, but we're going to have to go about it in an interesting way. So here at the midship elevators, what I'm going to do is actually come out this way. We're going to go forward because we're going to see the upper deck of the Royal Promenade. The reason I'm going to go ahead and do that is because it ends right there. You cannot keep going forward. It's a wall. You can't go past that. So we're just going to catch that really quick and finish off the promenade. Then we'll probably come back out and do the boardwalk, or go forward and do the spa and fitness center, and then do the opposite of that. But I want to show this section here in the middle first, so let's check that out. So as we exit the midship elevators and stairs, we'll find a couple of different things. First, the loyalty desk. So if you have any questions about your Crown and Anchor status, you can visit them there and speak to them. But you'll also find the schooner bar. Now this, I believe, is on every single Royal Caribbean ship. This is a nautical themed piano bar, so they'll have piano entertainment in the evening, and during the day, just like they are now, they'll have trivia and games, and it's packed out there. There's the loyalty desk tucked back in their corner. Look at the map wall. All the nautical features, the dark woods, the ropes, ship's wheel, all that fun stuff, and it does continue all along there. And it is schooner bars, so here's the bar located in the back end. Then you'll have seating all along the top deck of the promenade here with the views, and then this is just going to continue to this section, which is typically going to be closed off because it is the stage where they'll have like nightly performance, and then that stairwell does go down to the lower deck of the promenade. Like again, I said, usually this is closed off. Right now they have it open, so I don't know. But you will not be able to go forward and continue on the upper deck of the promenade. Same thing over on the starboard side. So we're gonna wrap around and go check that out right now. Now over on the starboard side of the upper deck of the promenade, we will find another shore excursion stand here with tons of tablets. So again, if you need to purchase something, come check in there. And they also have the help desk in case you're having issues with the tablets. And this is just gonna flow right into the photo purchase area, Focus Photo Gallery, where they also sell camera equipment. Like they have a whole GoPro stand there with different accessories. But you can come purchase your photos and your photo packages and all that stuff. Here you see they have the pricing up above. And then you just tap your SeaPass card, pull up and view your photos, purchase the ones you like. And they have several stands even up on the walls here that you can use, or all throughout, and the little kiosks you can walk up to. And then they have this checkout stand in the back where you can purchase different items like photo albums, photo books, fun frames. They even have this kind of like engraved crystal art you can get, and then additional cameras and camera equipment, SD cards, batteries, selfie sticks, all that kind of stuff. And they also have the Picture This photo studio where you can have professional shots done if you so choose. Now past that, you're going to find that you will not be able to continue forward. Just like I said, it dead ends here, so you can't go any further forward, but you can take the stairs back down to the lower level, back by the shore excursion desk like we saw earlier. All right. So we're done now with the Royal Promenade, and we're actually gonna shoot through the midship elevators there to the back section, one of the funnest areas on board, the boardwalk. Off the midship elevators, heading directly aft, the flashing lights welcome us and beacon us to the boardwalk. So this is gonna be an open air section, and it's gonna have a lot of fun stuff on it. So they already set the theming with the big pieces of art on the wall here, as well as these sculptures showing how a carousel horse is crafted. Really fun stuff. Then they're gonna have little arcade games and things like that. Souvenir coin machine there. Zoltar, he's always hanging around. And then they have this fun art piece here with this purple wig that you can actually pull. You stand right there, you can pull the wig and put it over on yourself. Nice fun little photo op right there. Now just like the promenade, we're gonna do the boardwalk here as kind of a circle. So I'm just gonna go around on the starboard side and then come back around on the port side. So first thing we're gonna find is the Boardwalk Doghouse. This is included with your cruise fare, and they are serving up hot dogs, sausage dogs. They have chicken and apple sausage, smoked Bavarian bratwurst, Sicilian pork. You can get sauerkraut onions. They have sides of coleslaw and potato salad, and they'll also have drinks either for purchase or as part of your package right there as well. And they'll have a condiment stand when they are open for business. Just look for the giant mustard bottle if you're not sure where to go. And here in the middle is the grand piece of the boardwalk. This is the carousel, and it is a fully functioning and operatable? This is a fully functioning carousel, and it is included with your cruise fare. Anyone can ride. It's not just for kids. So feel free when it's up and running to come on by, hop on, maybe even ride a panda. Now next to Boardwalk Doghouse, we will find one of Chelsea's favorite locations, and that is Sugar Beach. Now this does come at an additional cost, but they do have candies for purchase in there, and they have grab bag candy, which is the ultimate. Now it's not open right now because we are in port, but we can take a peek inside. You'll see the candy stand there, and then over there they have kind of like the cashier area, and they actually also serve specialty ice cream in there as well. You can kind of see, sorry for the glare, but you can kind of see up there on the menu board that they have those different offerings listed for specialty ice cream. And then you can see there where the grab bag candy sections are that you can fill up with. And they even have some fun candy themed tables and chairs out here as well, right outside of the Sugar Beach storefront. Now next to Sugar Beach, we will find Surf Shack. This is a merchandise location that has bathing suits and swim shirts and hats and pool toys, things like that. And next to Surf Shack, we will find Johnny Rockets. Now this is not technically a specialty restaurant, but it does come at an additional cost, except breakfast. They will serve breakfast here on Oasis class ships included with your cruise fare. But this is just like Johnny Rockets back on land. It's like a diner. They're gonna have different things here. They have their breakfast menu posted. But then, you know, later in the day, they will have burgers, they will have sandwiches, salads, typical diner food. You can get shakes here, lots of good fun. And so they're gonna have the diner style setup on the inside. You can sit at the bar or in a booth, and then they'll have all of these seating out here on the boardwalk itself. And next to Johnny Rockets, we will find the Lucky Climber. Now here are the rules for that. Max weight of 300 pounds. but it is just a little climbing area. It's netted in. It has all those different platforms that you can climb up on there and have some fun with. And here at the very end, you'll see the entrance to Rock Climbing Wall 1. Rock Climbing Wall 2 is going to be on the opposite side, but even though those rock climbing walls are actually technically up above us there, I guess really even with deck 7, you actually access them here on deck 6. Back by the Aqua Theater, you'll just head around to the stairwell there on the back, take it up, and then that's where you'll get all set up. And rock climbing is included with your cruise fare, no additional cost for this. So I just mentioned the Aqua Theater, and here it is. So on Oasis class ships, they have the Aqua Theater here on the back of the ship, and this is where they will perform aqua shows. They'll have synchronized swimming, they'll have slackline performers, they'll have tightrope walkers, and most importantly, well, I don't know if it's most importantly, but maybe the most famous of all, the high divers. Diving off of those platforms into the pool below, which is currently covered as they do some work there. But the show on Symphony is Hiro, H-I-R-O. We have not seen it yet. We're going to see it later in our cruise, but we've heard good things. They also have the video boards here as part of the show, but even when they're not performing an aqua show, they'll have other things up on the video boards, like standard Royal Caribbean stuff like this, or they might have movies, sometimes even live sports. So be sure to swing by the Aqua Theater and check it out. Get a nice view of the ocean on the back as well. Now before we head back over on the port side and continue forward in the boardwalk, we see these purplish, pinkish slides here in the middle going all the way up to that artwork at the top and circling around. These are the ultimate abyss slides. These are dry slides, not water slides. You use a little sack and you slide down in them. This is included with your cruise fare. It's a lot of fun. They call it the fastest elevator at sea. It is dark in there, but you do get some cool flashing light effects. I'll show you the entrance for this, which is really awesome, up top when we're on the outer decks later on, but just know that this is where the slide exits here at the boardwalk. Can you survive? Continuing our grand circle tour here of the boardwalk, we'll find that aforementioned sports viewing area that I said earlier, Playmakers, sports bar, and arcade. And they do have this large bar section over here on the left. You can see all the TVs throughout, giant TVs in the back. TVs out here on the boardwalk. You can actually sit out here. We sat right there the other night and watched a game. So lots of fun to be had here at Playmakers. And it's not just a bar, they have food here. Now it does come at an additional cost, but we think it's a great value, and we find the food to actually be really good. So come on by to Playmakers if you're in for some sports bar food, or you want to grab some drinks, watch the game. They also have tabletop shuffleboard over there. Lots of fun to be had here. And we notice it says Playmakers Sports Bar and Arcade. That is because there is actually an arcade attached to it. Let's head in. Here is the Playmakers Arcade. Now note that this is not actually the main arcade on board. We will see that later on, but they do have arcade games in here. Now these do come at an additional cost, and as always I like to remind people, if you know you're going to be playing arcade games on board your cruise, purchase arcade credits on the My Royal Cruise section of Royal Caribbean's website ahead of time. Before your cruise, you'll get a 20% discount. Also should note that they do virtual tickets here, which are tracked via your SeaPass card or your arcade card, and you can redeem those tickets here in the prize hub. And back outside, they do have some additional arcade games here, basketball, football, and little hoops as well. Now something I want to point out, not a lot of people know about this. You see these flashing marquee signs here. They kind of just look like themed artwork, right? Well, if you come up to one of them, open up the Royal Caribbean app and tap the circus icon that looks like that, you can actually play these games via, I guess, augmented reality would be the best way to put it. But you can actually play these on the Royal Caribbean app. And this is free of charge. You don't need an internet package or anything like that to use the Royal Caribbean app on board. And they have all of these different games that you can play, like ring toss, for free. Just pull it up on the app and you can play it here. You just have to come up to these boards and scan the eye, or tap the icon, and then it gives you something to scan, and then you can play those. So keep that in mind. Not a lot of people know about it. All right, back inside at our map, let's get reoriented. So we saw the upper deck of the promenade, and then we went out and we did the loop of the boardwalk, saw the different shops and Playmakers, Johnny Rockets, and the Aqua Theater, and the rock climbing wall entrance, all that fun stuff. Now the only thing left to see here on deck 6 is the Vitality at Sea Spa and Fitness Center. Now something I want to point out is I said when you were here in the upper decks of the promenade that you could not continue forward. That's true, but that doesn't mean that you can't go from the back of deck 6 to the forward part of deck 6 You don't have to go down to another deck or anything like that. You just need to come into the stateroom hallways, then you can proceed all the way forward. So that's what we're gonna do right now. Okay, so now I'm at the deck 6 forward elevators and stairs. So it's shot down the hallway here. Now we're at the forward elevators and stairs, and we turn and we head forward and find the entrance to Vitality at Sea Spa and Fitness Center. So this is where you will enter for both of those items. Now, right as you come in, you'll find the Vitality Cafe. Vitality Cafe is serving up juices and smoothies, freshly made there, as well as some other specialty drinks. They do come at an additional cost, but you can get them included with a refreshment package or higher, or if you have diamond drinks, you can use those as well. They also have Starbucks specialty coffees there too. And just past that, you'll find the entrance to the salon. We're doing hair and nail treatments in there. And then they'll have all the merchandise for sale here, all the treatment products and things like that. And then they'll even do some consultations over here, one-on-one kind of stuff. Sometimes they also offer some group activities in these different areas. Here's the main check-in desk where you will come and check in. If you have a treatment, you'll speak to them here. You can even book things. And then this is the actual entrance to the spa. If you have a treatment area, they will escort you back through here to your room. Now, opposite that, over on the port side, we will find the entrance to the fitness center. So let's head on through to that. So right as we come in, we see they have a couple of private consultation areas, restrooms of course, and those are located throughout the ship. Scale, and then you're going to find all of your equipment, and you'll find porthole windows on the side. We're actually going to wrap around on the front where there are no windows, but over on each side there are porthole windows. So they have treadmills, cycles, ellipticals. They even have a couple of rowing machines. I missed this the other day when we came to work out. I did not see them there. I completely missed them. There's two right there in front of these elliptical machines. And then it wraps around. This is a very large fitness center. So you're going to find this is kind of like your resistance machine area. They have a water fountain there. And of course, they're going to have sanitizing wipes, clean towels, an area to drop your used towels, a resting area over there. They even have the stair climber, all kinds of stuff, and it just continues on over to the starboard side. Here we have the free weights and the dumbbells, and then additional treadmills, again with the porthole windows over on this side. And here in the middle, I wanted to point out, you see it says down to jogging track. So this is the stairwell that I mentioned earlier. Takes you right down to that jogging track that we saw that goes around the outside of the promenade deck. And right next to that, they have this area where they will do group exercises, group classes, different kinds of things going on in here. And they even have like these kind of exercise ball, medicine balls, a couple of dumbbells, and they'll usually also have, yep, here we go, yoga mats and rollers, things like that. And now that we have covered the fitness center, we are finally done with deck 6, and we're continuing to 7. Deck number 7 now, and if you've watched my ship tours before, you know that with most ship tours, there comes a point where I get really excited because it's all just staterooms. Well, I'm gonna kind of get that on this ship. As we look at our directory, still gonna have to show a couple of things here and there, and a lot of things on deck number 8. But for deck number 7, I do get a bit of a reprieve. It is just staterooms, so we will continue to deck 8. Feeling great on deck number 8, and we are at the forward elevators. The forward part of deck 8 is just staterooms, and the rear part of deck 8 is mostly just staterooms. One little thing to see there. It's really the inside of the sandwich that we're interested in, Central Park. For those that don't know, Central Park is a neighborhood. I haven't really talked about that, and I should. Whenever you see these little logos, that means it's a neighborhood. It's to help keep you oriented throughout the ship. So Central Park is a neighborhood that's found on all Oasis class ships, and now even the Icon class ships. And it is actually an open air area. You can see completely open air to the sky above, and it actually has live trees and plants. These are not fake, these are real. Live trees and plants, you'll even see real birds and bugs in here sometimes as well. Now we look at our map of Central Park, and what we're gonna find in here, a lot of different areas just to sit and relax, but you'll also find some bars, restaurants, and shopping. So Central Park is also a bit of a loop. So instead of looping around though, because the middle's kind of filled with a lot of plants, I'm gonna try to ping pong back and forth. I'll try to keep it as oriented as possible. So we've come out of the forward elevators on deck 8 here. We're now looking at the starboard side. We'll find Vintages. This is the wine bar on board, and it is currently closed, but we can see inside there. They just have some comfortable seating, and then the bar over there. There's not too much to write home about. And now I'm gonna bounce over here to the port side, and we will find a couple of different shops selling more merchandise, just like we saw in the promenade. So this one's selling jewelry and handbags. These are the different brands available here. Hello. and we're gonna find more watches, more jewelry, more of the same. Now, whenever you see these big glass kind of dome things, these are actually skylights that go down into the promenade. I think I pointed one out earlier. I said the sun was shining down. That's where they're coming through. So you can actually look through those down into the promenade. And now we find ourselves back in this middle area. There's the coin designating Symphony of the Seas, and we'll see more of those skylights there to get open air up above. But now we're gonna find a couple different eateries. Over here to the left, where we dined last night, Jamie's Italian, based on celebrity chef Jamie Oliver. This is a specialty restaurant, so it does come at an additional cost. But you can get some delicious Italian food there. Here's a look at the menu. You can even sit outside here in the open air in Central Park, or you can take a look inside and dine in there as well. And here's a quick look inside Jamie's Italian. Now, across from Jamie's Italian, we'll find another eatery, but this one is included with your cruise fare, Park Cafe. Now, Park Cafe is open on this ship for just breakfast and lunch. They're gonna have different things like little sandwiches, sometimes hot soup, sometimes hot sandwiches. They'll also have a grab and go section of fruits and little snacks, things like that, beverage station. And they'll have lots of seating inside, and as you can see, seating here on the outside part of the restaurant in Central Park as well. And here's a look at the service station where they'll have all those foods once they're open back up, as well as your complimentary beverage station there with the water, the juices, the coffee, and the tea, and then the indoor seating section with the condiment stand as well. Next up, we'll find a recurring favorite of the Central Park areas on Royal Caribbean ships, the Trellis Bar. Pretty self-explanatory. It's a bar, it's underneath a trellis. So grab your drinks here and enjoy them in the Central Park ambiance. Now, this glass section towards the aft part of Central Park is not just a skylight, but actually the upper area of the Rising Tides Bar. Remember, we talked about that in the promenade earlier. There it is down there. So when it rises up all the way to the top, you'll actually be able to get on or off here in Central Park in this area. Over on the port side, we'll find our next eatery, which is Chops Grill. This is a specialty restaurant, and it is Royal Caribbean's steakhouse. So here's a quick look at the menu. And something cool is that you can go inside and eat, but you can also dine outside, just like we saw at Jamie's Italian. But this one actually has covered outdoor seating, so even if it starts raining, you're okay, because you're inside the glass area there. You shouldn't have any problems. Something I want to point out about specialty restaurants is that you can dine there every night for dinner, but they are also open for lunch on sea days. So days at sea, these will be open for lunch, and it actually comes at about half the price of dinner, but they usually have almost the full menu available. So if you have that opportunity, I definitely recommend taking advantage of it. And here's a look inside Chops Grill. Dark woods, leather seating, very nice, very fancy. Across from Chops Grill, over on the starboard side, we will find our last spot here in Central Park, which is 150 Central Park. Now, this is also a specialty restaurant coming at an additional cost. Here's a quick look at the menu. This is a little bit more elevated, a little bit fancier than the other spots. And it actually does not have any outdoor seating. The seating over there is just kind of like checkerboard, chessboard areas, places you can relax and play games. So you actually will be dining inside when you dine at 150 Central Park, and here is a look at that. And with that, we have completed our tour of the Central Park area. One last thing I wanted to point out though, you see these windows there and those balconies up there? Those are staterooms. And they actually, instead of having a view of the ocean, they have a view of Central Park. So the windows are going to be Central Park interior rooms. Technically considered interior rooms, but they do have the window that looks out here to Central Park. Above that, you will have the Central Park view balconies. So again, a balcony stateroom, but you're not gonna have an ocean view, you're gonna have a view of Central Park. These are special offerings on the Oasis class ship and on the Icon class ships now as well. Now, I didn't point it out while we were on the boardwalk, but you also have these options there as well. You can get balconies overlooking the boardwalk area, and some of those will have a bit of an ocean view. You can also get interior rooms there, technically labeled as promenade view interiors. I didn't point that out while we were in the promenade either, but just like these rooms here with the windows, you can either look over into the promenade or you can look out onto the boardwalk. So just keep that in mind. These come at a lower cost typically than ocean view rooms. So if you want a bit of a view but you can't afford that, go with one of these. It can be a great option. Back inside at the midship elevators here on deck number 8. So again, forward was just staterooms. Now we saw Central Park. Now one last thing to show here, which is Dazzles. And Dazzles is kind of like a music hall area, essentially. In fact, this is music hall on some other ships. They're going to have nightly performances inside. They'll do various activities throughout the cruise during the day. Different special activities, but you see have a large dance floor here in the middle, right in front of the stage area where they will have the live music. Bar over here on the side, and then plenty of seating all the way around. There's even an upper deck. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But as we look past here, past the stage, you can get a great view of the boardwalk, looking outside, Ultimate Abyss slide, Aqua Theater, all the boardwalk stuff, even out to the ocean. And here you can see those boardwalk balconies that I mentioned earlier, kind of like the Central Park balconies, and then also the boardwalk view rooms, which are technically promenade view interior rooms. They are interior rooms, but with a view of the boardwalk. So a couple different room options out here and a nice view from inside Dazzles. Dazzles is covered, so we've wrapped up deck number 8, going to 9. Deck number 9 now. As you see from our map, this is mostly staterooms. There's only one thing to see here, which is the aforementioned upper deck of Dazzles. So we'll head inside right here. I like to point out these cool lights up here on the ceiling as you enter. But as we come into the upper deck area of Dazzles, you'll see that we just have more seating upstairs here. It's just an expanded area of the action going on down below, so just some more tables and chairs up top. And then, of course, you do still have those huge windows so you can look out and get the great view. And just like that, deck 9 is done, so we're going to 10. Deck number 10, just staterooms. Haha. Let's go to 11. Deck 11, also just staterooms. To 12. Deck number 12 is mostly staterooms, but there is one thing to see here. Right off the midship elevators, we turn aft and we find the entrance to Wonderland. There's the menu board. This is Wonderland Imaginative Cuisine. This is a specialty restaurant, so it is coming at an additional cost, but it's out there. It's kind of bizarre the way they prepare the food, but some of it is quite tasty. So here you go, down the rabbit hole. You see the door there you can go through. Lewis Carroll coming to life here, and even over here on the side we see the picture of the Cheshire Cat there hanging out. And the menu here, an example of the menu, it's really fun. It just looks like a framed, like nondescript portrait, but when you actually apply water with the paintbrush, it comes to life and you can then see the menu. Across here we do have the bar. As you're waiting, you can get some drinks there, and then as your table is ready, you'll be escorted down to the lower level where you'll actually see and dine. They'll bring you all those courses. Again, really crazy preparation, but some tasty food, and you get some fantastic views. So that wraps up deck number 12. We're going to 13. Oh wait, no we're not. No 13 on this ship. We're heading up to 14. Deck number 14 now, and there's only one small thing to show in the aft section. A couple big things at the forward part of the ship. But again, we're here at the midship elevators and stairs. We will turn aft, and we will immediately find the entrance to Seven Hearts. Now, this is the card room on board. You can go inside, play cards, play games. But beyond that, they also have some computers over here on the side if you need to access the internet using a package, but they'll provide the device, and then they also usually have printers in case you need to print things. And that is it for the aft portion as well as the midship portion of deck 14. So I'm going to kick down the stateroom hallway here, head to the forward elevators and stairs. See you on the other side. Forward elevators and stairs of deck 14 now, and this is interesting because we're going to see a kids only area and then an adults only area kind of right here together, which is an interesting choice. But we do turn forward here and we find the entrance to Adventure Ocean, which is the kids area on board. Now it's not just that, it's also the entrance for Puzzle Break Center. This is the escape room area on board, and the escape room on this ship is Escape the Rubicon. They have the little ship painting there as well. So if you've reserved a spot for an escape room, this is where they will take you in to do that. And a couple of notes here, so we can see on the board, you need at least 4 people. It doesn't have to be 4 people in your party because this is not a private room. At least 4 and up to 12, and you need to be here 15 minutes before. You must be 12 years or older to play. We get asked about that a lot. That is at least what they've posted as a rule. Now this used to be about $20 a person to do their escape rooms. On our sailing it's now $35 per person, which is in line with some onshore escape rooms, like more like private experiences though. So it's getting a little bit pricier, but they do have to charge extra for it, otherwise everyone would want to do it. Now, back to Adventure Ocean. As I mentioned, the kids area on board, kids club area. I will not be able to show you all this because there are a lot of kids on board this sailing, and I can't really film kind of those areas when they're doing that. So I'll just kind of give you the general overview here We do have the Adventure Ocean Theater, so they have their own little theater in here where they'll do different like movies or puppet shows or things like that. And they have the fun artwork throughout the center area here. Restrooms, of course. And then they're going to have their different little playrooms for the different age groups. So the Voyagers, which is 9 to 11 over there, 6 to 8 for Explorers, 3 to 5 for Aquanauts over there. And then they even have the Adventure Science Lab right here where they do different science experiments and things like that. We can take a look inside here because no one's inside. No one's inside the older kids' room either. So we can see it looks like they have some computers there for computer games and group activity play area. Now over on the other side, we'll find the Imagination Studio, which is actually the art room. And as we wrap back around towards the entrance, we'll find the entrance to the nursery, Royal Baby and Tots, right through there. Here over to my right, which I'm not going to show because there are kids playing in it, but it's just like blocks and toys and things like that. So there you go. That is the Adventure Ocean Loop. Okay, back at our map here, so we just saw the Puzzle Break Center and Adventure Ocean. I mentioned there was an adults-only area as well, which is the solarium. Now this is the lower level of the solarium, which is technically here on deck 14. And you can access it here by coming to the stateroom corridors and turning to go forward. And you can actually go through, there's a door down there at the end. But you'll notice it's not really labeled anywhere because this is not the main entrance to the solarium. I'll show you that instead up on deck 15. And why don't we just go ahead and do that right now because we are done with deck 14. So we'll go to 15. All right, deck 15 now. This is going to be one of our busiest decks because this is the pool and sports deck and the solarium. Lots of stuff to see here. So we are at the forward elevators. We're going to turn right here in the center and find the main entrance to the Solarium Bistro. Now this is going to be open for breakfast and dinner, at least today, closed for lunch, but check your schedule, might be open for lunch. But this is not going to be a specialty restaurant. There's no additional cost to dine here, but it's kind of like a mix between a buffet and table service. Usually you'll help yourself to your sides, your appetizers, things like that, and then you'll order from a menu the main course and they'll bring it to your table. And now we can go out either direction, starboard or port. I'm gonna head out on the starboard side. And this is gonna bring us outside on the pool deck. Right when we come out, we'll find these huge cantilevered whirlpools right over the edge there, floor to ceiling glass windows there, and covered up above with some TVs even, so you can enjoy those at your leisure. Freshwater shower next to that. But now if we turn and look back forward, we'll find the entrance to the solarium, and as I mentioned, this is an adults only area, 18 and up. It used to be 16 and up, but they've changed it now to 18 and up. So we'll head inside here, and this is going to be an open air solarium, so the wind does blow right through, but it's not strong winds because it is blocked by some of the glass and partitions. And as you can see, there's going to be a ton of lounge chairs in here. They'll have some day beds, they'll have some canopy beds, things like that spread throughout the area, and even some freshwater showers. Now we'll step up on this little deck, and this is actually going to be an area for the Solarium Bistro that we saw earlier. You take a look inside there, and you can see the dining area, the tables and chairs right there. So it comes out here on deck inside the solarium, and they'll have tables and chairs outside here as well. Now centrally located in the big metallic shiny iridescent art piece, you'll find the solarium bar serving up drinks, and we'll find some hot tubs up here as well, some couches, lots of lounge space, and then it just continues on around. It's pretty much a mirror image over on this side. But now we'll actually turn here, and you'll find stairs that go down to a pool. This is the solarium pool area, which gets quite crowded, just like it is right now. But then there's another stairwell here that'll actually take you down to that lower level. So here you'll see the big windows all the way around, giving you views right out the front of the ship. And then you'll find more lounging, day beds, lounge chairs, canopy beds, all that good stuff. And this area is really cool. You can actually come out over the wings right above the bridge here and walk out, get out from the glass, and take in the full-on breeze, which gets quite strong when you're sailing. It's strong right now, even though we're not moving. Get a view of the helipad. Now, I want to point out, helipads on Oasis-class ships are not accessible by the public. Those are crew-only areas. But something that is cool right here is the floor is glass. So you can just come right here, stand right out, look straight down to the water below you. It's actually a pretty cool feature, and take in some great views either of the port you're docked at currently, like we're in Port Canaveral right now, or when you're sailing, some great views of the ocean. Get to look back at the ship, take it all in. And then tucked up in the corner here, you'll see this door, and this actually goes inside to the hallway I was talking about earlier on deck 14 that goes down to the staterooms. So it's just like that, and boom, there you are, to the stateroom. So if you were to come down this hall, this is what it would look like. You get to the glass door and you head out. Pretty cool feature here too, with the waterfall and the pool being infinity style and see-through right there. As we exit the sleigh room on the port side now, we'll see again one of those huge hot tubs hanging out over the edge of the ship there. So now we're gonna make our way aft. We're gonna enter into the main pool deck area here, which is more difficult to cover on Oasis class ships than it is on other classes of ship, but I'm gonna try my best. You can see it's split here because again, Central Park is open air all the way down to the bottom. So the pool deck is split into two sides. I'm gonna go up there on that bridge and give you the bird's eye view in just a minute. But first, you can see the water slides here. I'm gonna go over those because the entrance to the Perfect Storm is right here. And here are the rules and regulations of the Perfect Storm water slides. Minimum height is 48 inches. I do not see any weight restrictions, which is interesting. But the water slides on this ship are going to be broken down into two sections. Over here, you're going to have the two body slides, which are pretty tame. Just circle around through the tubes. Nothing really too much to write home about there. Over here is the bigger feature. You're going to come out through the clear tube section, and then another clear tube hanging out over the drop-off to Central Park there, and then you'll end up in the whirlpool, just go around and around and around, and then splash down right at the end. Now, of course, these are included with your cruise fare. No additional costs for the Perfect Storm water slides. As I make my way to the bridge to give you the bird's eye view of the pool deck, just note that there's going to be sun loungers all throughout the pool deck, tucked up against the windows and out in the open air as well. And before I head upstairs to the bridge, I wanted to point out the towel stations where you can rent towels for free, as well as the life vest, and then the pool bar located here under the bridge. All right, up above now, there's Central Park. We're looking back forward part of the ship. So over here on the port side, bird's eye view, got the covered hot tub down there, and then one of the main pool areas in the middle with another hot tub covered beyond that, just in front of the water slides, and you can see all the lounge chairs there. Now you do have the walk through here. Even though it is a drop down to Central Park, you can walk through down there. And then over here on the other side, it's actually just more of the same. Lounge chairs throughout, covered hot tub, pool, and another covered hot tub. And the pool is tiered, so you kind of have like a shallow shelf, and then you can get into the deeper section. Now here's the other section of Central Park. So we're now looking aft, looking towards the back of the ship. Over here on this side, we'll find an open air hot tub, and then another pool area where they have a volleyball net set up in the middle, and it is tiered as well. Shallow shelf, and then a deeper section, sun loungers all throughout, of course. Over here on this side, we will find a covered hot tub, and then we'll find the splashaway bay, like kids splash play area. So you can see the little tykes area over there with the little buckets and fill stations and little dumps and drains and things like that. And then in the middle, there goes the big bucket right there up top, fills up and dumps out. And then they have the open air slide, a little tube slide, a little climber area, splash play area for the kids there. So lots of fun to be had here on the pool deck. All right, I'm gonna head back down to deck 15. And over on the starboard side now, we'll find a mirror image towels, life vests, and then the pool bar. And here's a better look at the splash play area for the kids. Lots of fun to be had there. Oh, and I should point out that across from the splash pad area there, here on the port side of the ship, will be the smoking section. Okay, this is where things can get a little confusing. There's the splash play area. Now we can continue on along the outside portion here, or we can actually cut inside, which I'm gonna do really quickly so we can get oriented on our map. All right, let's get reoriented with our map here. So again, we're on deck 15. We started with the Solarium Bistro. We saw the entrance to the Perfect Storm water slide, and we saw the pools split up on each side there, the pool bar, sandbar, splashaway bay, kids play area, and the sports pool with the volleyball net over there. So now we're inside here at the midship elevators and stairs. What we can do is we can continue on inside to see this area, and then we're gonna go outside to see all of those areas. And just off the midship elevators and stairs here on deck 15, I'll point out the ship model for Symphony of the Seas is located here. I normally don't do this, but I wanted to show it because it does kind of help give an idea of how an Oasis class ship is laid out. You can see the open air aqua theater on the back, and then open air down to the boardwalk, open air down to Central Park. So usually when I have clients who are new to sailing or new with Royal Caribbean or haven't experienced an Oasis class ship yet, and I say they have open air areas or they have balconies that face the inside, it's really hard to kind of grasp what that means. I think this kind of helps give the layout and help comprehend that. All right, so deck 15, there's our midship elevators and stairs. I'm kicking over now to the port side, and we will find the entrance to the living room. Now this is a teens area on board, and I can't really go in there, but you can see they have like video game chairs and TVs set up, lounge areas, things like that. And now we're kicking over to the starboard side. So two things here to see on the starboard side. I'm going to turn to my left and we'll enter the unboxed area. So unboxed is where you can come and purchase merchandise like different sundries, medicines. They even have electronics and trading cards, things like that. But you do it via vending machines. So instead of going through a store and checking out with a cashier, you can just purchase it right through the vending machine. Now these machines are closed when you're in port because you can't sell any kind of merchandise whatsoever, but this can be a really convenient option. You just tap your SeaPass card and it charges to the card on your account. Now they also have some free charging stations in here as well, so you can put your device in. You see they have the different kind of plugs and it locks it away and actually charges up. So when the box is red, someone's device is in there charging. When it's blue, it is available for use. Now opposite of Unboxed, we will find the Challengers Video Arcade. Remember when we were at Playmakers, I said that was not the actual arcade on board, it was a secondary one. This is the actual one and it's quite a bit bigger. So they have the Lane Master Bowling, they have air hockey, they have the Pac-Man air hockey with all the mini pucks, which is super fun. Fruit Ninja, they have a prize hub in here as well to redeem your virtual tickets. Luigi's Mansion Arcade, you don't see that all too often. Claw machines with some stuffies, they have racing games over there. Then we're gonna have Keymaster with some prizes inside of there. Back around here, some more claw games with stuffies and jewelry. And we're gonna have free throw basketball. Of course you gotta win a Plucky Ducky, a Royal Caribbean Crown and Anchor Plucky Ducky there. Ghostbusters shooter, the Big Bass wheel, Haunted Part 2 shooter, Keymaster, Black Hole, lots of fun. Subway Surfers, Sonic, Superstar prize machine there, Color Match prize machine, Keymaster Mini, and then Turtle Treasure. You win some turtles instead of ducks there, as well as the Willy Crash machine there. So a lot more machines to be had in here, and it works the same way. You can charge right to your SeaPass card, or you can get an arcade card for kids to use, or if you just want to use one as well. All right, back outside now. That's where we went inside, and then we cut through the elevators, and we were right here with Unboxed and the Challengers Arcade. Now we're gonna head back here. We're on the starboard side, heading aft. And the first thing we'll find is the soft serve station, where they're serving up vanilla and chocolate and swirl. Soft serve right there, and this is included with your cruise fare. And past that, we will find El Loco Fresh, which is usually just open for lunch, like today, 1 to 5:30 p.m. El Loco Fresh is a Tex-Mex place where you can get burritos, tacos, quesadilla, nachos, and they have the full toppings bar to go with it all. Some desserts like tres leches or maybe flan, things like that. And this is included with your cruise fare. Super delicious. It's a really great value because it is included. They even have some grab-and-go salads and fruits there too. And then they're gonna have that aforementioned toppings bar, salsa bar right here with all the different hot sauces. They'll put all the toppings out there once they're ready to serve. There's a Coke Freestyle machine here too. And then they'll have an included beverage station set up with water, lemonade, tea, things like that right there later on. The decor for El Loco Fresh continues on through, and then you'll actually find some cool rounded picnic tables set up here where you can look out to the boardwalk and the Ultimate Abyss and the Symphony of the Seas sign, the ocean, Aqua Theater, all that good stuff. Now, if we turn here, we will find the entrance to Fuel, which is kind of like the team disco. It's kind of part of the living room. We would take a peek in there. I don't think anyone's in there. So there you go. Kind of like a big dance floor activity area, TVs and stuff like that. A little juice bar inside. And then we'll find the outdoor area of the living room, which was that teens area that we saw a little bit ago. This is called the patio. 12 to 17 years old. Just a little outdoor hangout section here for them, and then it goes back inside to the living room right there. And because we have the boardwalk cut out here, we'll be doing a loop around the outside portion, starting with the ping pong tables enclosed in glass, so those ping pong balls don't go bouncing away from you, which is really nice. Then we're gonna find some Adirondack chairs out here, nicely colored, some lounge chairs as well, and we'll find the mini golf course. This is gonna be 9 holes, and it is included with your cruise fare. Lots of fun obstacles like up the boat, out the boat, through the lighthouse, up the waterfall there. Lots of fun. Through the sandcastle, all that good stuff. Grab your club and your ball over there. And then we'll see this padded area here. This is actually the landing zone for the zip line. That's right, they have a zip line on Oasis class ships. You will start right over there and you will zip right above the drop off down to the boardwalk area if you so dare. This is also included with your cruise fare, so no additional cost to zip line. Have a great time landing right there. And as we make our way to the very back of the ship, I want to point out we're going to be going up some stairs here, but there is a ramp over there on the outside if you so need that. Oh, and this is good information. These are the requirements for the zip line. You have to be at least 52 inches tall and at least 75 pounds and not exceed 275 pounds. And next up, we will find the Flow Rider. This is the surf simulator. They'll offer stand-up and kneeboarding sessions. So usually the water just goes rushing right there and you can surf or kneeboard on the Flow Rider. And on most Oasis class ships, you will find 2 Flow Riders opposite of each other. And that is the case here on Symphony of the Seas. In fact, this one is actually operating right now, so you can see the water going right there over here on the starboard side, and someone actually doing the stand-up surfing right now. And in between the 2 Flow Riders, we will find the appropriately named Wipeout Bar. Just behind the Wipeout Bar, we will find the entrance to the Ultimate Abyss slide. Remember, this is the one we said came out at the boardwalk there, the dry slide. So you do have to be at least 44 inches to do the Ultimate Abyss slide, and you cannot exceed 330 pounds. And they'll give you some other parameters too, like you can't have loose articles, you have to tuck in lanyards, you need to wear sleeves, things like that. They'll dictate that to you when you're on board. But there's the height indicator there, so whenever it's ready, you'll grab a sack, you go up the stairs here, and there'll actually be a glass floor there, so you'll be looking straight down to where you're gonna be headed to, and then you get in the slide, and you go. Lots of fun. And just behind the Ultimate Abyss, we can look out when you're sailing. This is a great spot to take in the wake view, or also look straight down and get the bird's eye view of the Aqua Theater. So again, there's the Flow Rider on the starboard side, and here is the loading area for the zip line. So you'll actually go right up there, get on the stairs, they'll hook you up, and you'll zip across. So now we're gonna head back down the stairs here, and we will see our last thing in this area, which is the sports court, or the basketball court. Mostly used for basketball. They do have the 2 hoops, so it is a full-size court, but they will set up the goals there, the nets for soccer. Sometimes they'll have pickleball, different things like that. All included with your cruise fare. I don't remember if I mentioned it, but if I didn't, Flow Rider is also included with your cruise fare. I'll go ahead and point out something fun here. Just above where we're at, we'll see all those glass panels. That's actually the Windjammer. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Up above that, though, those are the Crown Loft suite rooms. So we've actually stayed in one of those on Oasis of the Seas. They're 2 decks high, and they're really fun and amazing. But see that colorful one there? That's actually the Ultimate Family Suite. They have their own lucky climber out on their balcony, as well as their own private jacuzzi hot tub. If you're interested in booking that, please feel free to reach out. No, we'll be happy to help with any kind of stateroom, of course. Now back over on the port side, heading forward. So right where I am now is opposite of where El Loco Fresh is that we saw on the starboard side. Just wanted to point out a couple things over here. The first being is that there's an additional soft serve location here. And the second being the Patty Dive Center. They'll usually sell merchandise here like snorkels and masks and things like that. But you can also typically sign up for classes and get scuba certified via the pools on board, which is a really interesting offering. I noticed that it's becoming available less and less, but you can always check the hours of operation posted outside here to get an idea of when it's available for your cruise. All right, back at our map here, let's get reoriented. So we saw all the Solarium Bistro. We covered both sides of the pool deck, the living room, fuel, the video arcade, El Loco Fresh, the golf course, the 2 Flow Riders, the entrance to the Ultimate Abyss, sports court, all that stuff. So we are covered with deck 15 and we are going to 16. All right, deck 16 is another interesting one because we've actually covered all of this. We accessed it via deck 15 on that stairwell that came up. So we've already seen all of this. Definitely need to see inside the Windjammer, and then we'll go out for the upper sun deck and then check the specialty restaurant at the front. So Windjammer Marketplace, that is the buffet for Royal Caribbean ships. Normally you would access it right here. On this ship though, you actually have to shoot around through the elevators, around to the side, and then come back in. A cool feature I wanted to point out here on deck 16 with the stairs going down to 15 between the midship elevators are these piano stairs. So if you step on them, they'll actually light up and make a sound just like a piano would. Lots of fun. And yes, I realize I've said lots of fun throughout this tour, but hey, it's an Oasis class ship. There is lots of fun. Let's go in the Windjammer. So you can access the Windjammer from either side, port or starboard, and they'll have the hours posted right there. As you come in, you'll have the hand washing sinks on either side. So lots of stalls available for you to wash those hands. And then we'll proceed in, and it's going to be your typical buffet setup where you're going to have seating along the perimeter on the outside with the floor-to-ceiling windows, and then your food and beverage stations are going to be located on the inside. And of course, the food will rotate between breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but even days of the cruise, they'll have special themes for lunch and dinner, like American or Italian or French, things like that, Caribbean night. So you never know what you're going to find. You'll just have to come and experience it yourself. But again, just remember, food service stations located on the inside, seating located along the perimeter with the floor-to-ceiling windows. And you can also find Coke Freestyle machines inside the Windjammer. But the same kind of setup is going to continue on throughout the venue and here to the back. Now, these are the windows that I pointed out when we were down below by the sports deck. So those are the floor-to-ceiling windows looking out towards the back, and then you're going to have some more food sections here in the middle, and then it's just going to be a mirror image over on the other side. Same exact setup that we saw over here. So the Windjammer comprises the entire aft section of deck 16. So now we're going to head back outside and we're going to head forward. We're going to go along these outer decks, which are of course elevated up above the pool deck. This will be basically your sun deck area. So as we enter onto our sun deck, of course, we're going to find tons of sun loungers. And then you'll see these little colorful casitas located throughout. Those come at an additional cost. You can rent them for the day. They typically cost a bit more on sea days than they do on port days, but you'll rent those ahead of the cruise. They do sell out. They're very popular. And when you get one of those, you'll actually check in here at the mast bar. So this bar serving up drinks, but you can see the signs here say casita check-in here. And we're just continuing on throughout. Sun loungers all around, casitas scattered throughout the upper decks here. It's just a place to come, take in the sun and relax. That's pretty much all that's going on. So we're gonna head on forward here, head back inside. Now before we head back inside, I will point out that this is the entrance to the suite deck. So if you are staying in a star or sky class level suite, or you are a pinnacle level member of the Crown and Anchor Society, you can tap your card there and head up to the suite deck. Now, unfortunately, I have none of those on this cruise, so I can't get up there to show you, but hey, it's just an outdoor sun deck area. There's a bar up there. You can relax and lounge. Our sun loungers continue throughout, and then there's even an area to look down into the solarium right over there. And back at our map here, so again, we saw all of that on the last deck. We went through the Windjammer, came along the outer deck, saw the mast bar, we checked in for the casitas and all the sun loungers. Now we're inside at the forward elevators and stairs. Only one thing to see here forward, which is Hooked Seafood. This is another specialty restaurant coming at additional cost. I think it's pretty obvious what they serve here. You can come and get some seafood bites. But what's really cool about this location is that it's basically located kind of in the solarium. So you see they'll have the raw bar here in the center, and also the drink bar there as well, and then the seating throughout. And then you get this nice view because you have the floor-to-ceiling windows throughout. So basically what you're going to do is look right over, and that's Solarium Bistro that we saw earlier, the indoor section for that. And then you can look right out the windows to the solarium and even past that to the sea or the port or wherever you're at. It's actually a pretty big location, so it's usually pretty easy to get in here. And a very quick look at the Hooked Seafood menu. And with that covered, we are heading up to deck 17 as 16 is done. And we look at our directory. This is our final deck. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. 17. All right, deck 17, our final deck. And we've actually kind of seen part of it, what we could see anyway. The forward part of deck 17 is just the suite deck. So we showed you where to go up for that, and as much as I could show you. The back portion of deck 17 are the loft suites that we saw from down below, and then the suite lounge as well as coastal kitchen, which I don't have access to either one of those, but we can see through the glass doors here. So the suite lounge is pretty self-explanatory, just like we saw the Crown Lounge earlier for the Crown and Anchor Society. Suite lounge is a lounge area for people staying in a suite level room with the nice floor-to-ceiling windows, comfortable seating, a concierge desk to help you with things, grab some snacks and drinks throughout the day. Now that's on the starboard side of the midship elevators. Over on the port side, we'll find the entrance to the Coastal Kitchen restaurant. Now this is just a restaurant only for suite guests. So if you're staying in a sky or a star level suite, you'll have full access to this. If you're in a sea level room, which is usually junior suites, you'll have access for dinner pending availability. So I like to say that this is kind of a mix between a specialty dining and the main dining room. It's going to be more elevated than the main dining room, kind of on par with a specialty restaurant, but it is included No additional cost if you are staying in one of those suites. And it's actually just a continuation. It's one big room with the suite lounge next door. And here's an idea of some of the things that you can get at least for lunch at Coastal Kitchen. Well, there you have it, friends. That is our tour of Royal Caribbean's Symphony of the Seas. I hope you found that useful and informational. Again, I'll remind you to check out our full Symphony of the Seas playlist so you can see our daily videos and our room tour video as well. If you're interested in coming on board Symphony of the Seas or another Royal Caribbean vessel, we would love to help make that happen. Again, we are travel agents. Our services are completely free to you. We never charge any fees or costs whatsoever, and you will never pay a single cent more to book with us than you would direct on your own. So please feel free to reach out via the travel agent information that you can find in the description of this video. Even if you've recently booked your Royal Caribbean cruise within the past 30 days, if you're not paid in full, you can transfer your booking to our agency. That's also free of charge, and then we'll be able to assist you the rest of the way. So either way, we hope we will hear from you soon. Once again, I want to thank you for joining me for today's video, but I'm signing off. I'll see you next time. Happy travels!